again whenever they get in. I think they're almost finished with the game. That sounds like. I've had 4 wins today.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been working with Steamy a little bit. Get my kind of getting my coaching in. Making myself better. That's what I was telling JD. I'm needing to have a balance to where I help pick people up, but I still need to progress as well. So having to bounce back and forth. But I think we can have several. What did
What do you say the name of the stream should be? Like proper weapon build and tuning?
Yeah, just weapon building, tuning, and maybe PC settings. Southside, you can unmute yourself.
You PC nerds.
You on Xbox?
Perfect. Yeah, I'm Xbox.
Okay.
Controller, homie.
Yeah, I've got this PS5 controller up here, and it's just collecting dust. A little worried I'd be off my game. I heard they're really good for close to mid-range fights, but the long range is where you really suffer.
I don't know. I mean, my Victus, you can ask. Oh, who was it? Get a Room and a few others. I was putting people down over 500 meters away.
Yeah.
Wow.
With the Victus XMR.
Yeah, you got the Raptor.
No.
No, you're not using the Raptor optic?
No. I'm using, honestly, the SPR.
I'll have to look into that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that Raptor, I just, hit the shift button on them, and which is the same button as breath.
Right.
And it automatically gauges the range. Pop it. Just tap it, man, and it's right on. All right. JD, you know if anyone else is joining or?
Not sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. I just got off with a game with Crash and forgot his other name, but
Nugget.
McNugget.
Yeah, Nug.
Okay. Nugs.
What if they tell him to chug it, McNugget?
Chug it. All right. Well, I guess I can start off with telling you my reference for all the attachments and guns that I've found so far. And that is sim.gg. That's S as in Sam, Y as in Yankee, and M as in Mike. .gg. And well, I mean, do you guys is there a gun that you would like to give a try, and maybe you could follow me along with the website and possibly build one with me?
My favorite's the one that I think you've used before is the RPK.
RPK? Okay, let's...
Yeah, I use RPK, Fennec, XMR. I haven't found anything better yet.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I have been using the HCR56 quite often. That's kind of my go-to for short to long range engagements. But I can do something on the let's go to are you guys on the actual website?
No, I was just chilling on my phone.
Okay.
That's your okay. See, I use the VLX 4.0 optic. I've got the is it the 597 barrel The silencer I used is a Polar Fire S Ripper 56 grip, and I use the incendiary over high velocity. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I will say that the high velocity, no matter the range that you're at, is going to down them quicker, and the follow-up shots in full auto do hit them faster. So you can down someone faster. That's where the TTK, or time to kill, really shines with an RPK. Other than the range never really drops off. So let me go over to sim.gg, and I'm going to pull up the RPK.
Because I use the RPK pretty much. It's pretty much what Rexzilla uses.
Rexzilla, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I do know, after going through numerous weapons on this, I do know for a fact that if you want velocity out of a round of ammunition, it's best to choose. You're going to get it better out of your ammunition than you are the barrel or the muzzle. And if you select the high velocity on this website, it will tell you that the muzzle velocity goes up 308 meters per second, which is huge. The damage range is actually down 0.03, which isn't really significant at all. Then of course I go over to the Zulu 60.
Where'd everybody go?
Okay.
So I'd be in the Zulu 60, and over to the right it tells me muzzle velocity is increased 200 meters per second, and the ADS time is slowed to 71 millisecond. Then it has all of the recoil. Like it will spit out damage range, gun kick, the view of the kick, and the ADS strafe, whether it goes up or down. And you go to your underbarrel, and I've got the FTAC Ripper 56. It helps the ADS time, but it's still sitting at 40 milliseconds, which is not bad. That is one of the higher end, but the recoil stabilization is huge. Also, if you need recoil stabilization, the best attachment is going to be in your rear grip after going through all this. So after seeing how much recoil it adds, I will go over to my demo X2 grip, and everything is null up until that. And then the recoil is increased even more. And you still have the benefit of the 200 millisecond or 200 meters per second. And at that point, my fifth attachment is going to be my optic, and that's going to be whatever you choose. I choose the SC Holotherm just due to the fact that if I'm scanning over something, I can pretty much see the highlighted character in the optic. So on most encounters with my LMG that I'm running or AR that I'm running, I'm going to have the Holotherm, and then I will switch to a long range engagement weapon like a sniper rifle. Also, I've noticed there are some people in our group that like to run AR LMG or 2 SMGs, and they're hindering themselves on the ammo.
Yeah, never should do 2 SMGs.
Yeah, or I like to have 2 different weapons that run 2 different types of ammo. And if you have a medium backpack or large, you can stow a third weapon, and I try my best to make that the third ammo type and bring it out, when needed. But this is my RPK build that I've already selected, and that is what I have found that is optimal for me. Now, I have noticed that in all optics that I've done so far on the tuning, first of all, does anyone have any questions about sim.gg? Or, I don't have Discord pulled up. And if you have questions that I'm not getting to, or you come up with questions for later, you can always add them into the Discord suggestions section. And I will try
are
to.
you screen sharing, Tac?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You can join the live screen share.
Yeah, I have to do it on my computer. Hold on.
Yeah. Not a problem. No problem. I'm waiting.
It's also on Newsfeed, Kabami Live.
And if you guys have any questions about any of this, feel free to post this in the suggestions box, or I'm sorry, the AWT suggestions in our appropriate channel, and I'll try to get by. Just at me, and I'll try to answer any questions that you may have as timely as I can. Or if I don't have the answer, I will do my research and I'll try to find it for you. And I'm not a pro. I am just a guy trying to help everybody else, trying to see the community be a little better, and hopefully you guys can learn something and go and show others. You know, teach someone else how to do this.
If somebody puts a question in the suggestion text chat, I can read it and relay it.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah, if you just don't want to talk or anything at the moment, that's fine. Or anything in the future, feel free to get back with me. Message. Not hard to get a hold of. How are you doing with the PC pulling up the stream, Crash?
I'm just waiting for my fucking computer to load. You can continue.
Okay, all
Okay.
right.
You can keep going on. I'm just waiting for my computer to load because it's being retarded.
Well, all right. My next section is I'm going to go over the optic tuning. And all of this is going to be your personal preference. This is not end all be all, but I will say that with the optics, I have noticed that it is best to select the eye position all the way to far. This does not do anything except for a visual effect of showing less recoil. And then my other is going to be my personal preference, as this being an LNG, I wanted faster aim down sight speed. And currently I'm sitting at 2.32 towards the aim down sight speed, and that's negative 2.32. And if you're watching the stream, I'm going to show you what it actually does when you max it out. Let's see. Let's go back to 2.33. That's close enough. If I pull all the way down to 3, the accuracy dot goes down, and the range pretty much stays right where it is. And then I'm looking over at the handling, which is what aim down sight speed is.
Hey, Crash. Crash, can you hear me? Crash, can you hear me? Crash.
There, and having the accuracy and the range remain the same. I could go all the way up to flinch resistance if I wanted to stare down the sights. Accuracy would go up, but the handling really suffers. And I can pull it on back down, And if you guys can watch that little spider web of the radar there, you see where, let's see if I can find a sweet spot. Looks like the line straightened up, somewhere 2.33 again. So just for me, for what I see, that visual instrument they have, that's what I see is the best of what I'm looking for on the aim down sight speed. Now, if there's an attachment you're interested in that on paper it looks good, but you take it to the firing range and you don't quite like it, then that's where you kind of tinker with your personal preference. Most of the time, I prefer to run a suppressor. That's just what I like. It feels good to me. The F-Tac Ripper, the tuning is the same. The reason I have it to begin with is for recoil stabilization. I raised it up. Again, I'm sitting at 0.52. And I've heard so many people say, well, why is it not all the way maxed out at 8 or 0.80? And the same thing is if you pull down and you look for the negative benefit, at the handling suffers so much. So you've got to find that little sweet spot where the drop off is just not worth it. And I'm sitting at 0.40 right now, which I'm 0.12 off from where I was before. But I'm okay with that. It's just rough. Just a rough estimate. Is anybody following along with the actual weapon build?
I am.
You are. Have you seen, like, is yours a little bit different? I know you're using a controller, but is yours a little bit different from what this is doing?
Now, the only difference is just a small, like, the movement of when you scroll up and down.
Yeah.
For instance, I can get 52, but I can't go 50. What's your set at?
It was 52. Now it's at 0.41. Let's go back up to 0.5.
I've just noticed small adjustments. It'll jump an extra number.
Yeah, that's it. And like you'll see your recoil and your accuracy. You can't go all the way up with it, because if you do, then the handling just suffers dramatically. And I like that looks like it's a full half of a bar there, and I don't want that. That 0.52 is where I ended up again. I'm just watching this radar and watching the little pins move that create the spider web. It's like a balancing table, if you can imagine it being that way. And that's just that's my personal preference. And I've tuned everything. And there's some people out there that's going to be like, well, mine works great sitting all the way at 1.0, and I'm just fine with that. And that's okay. I'm just trying to show someone the optimal way to do this. I've not had any problems. I don't know if this radar that they have is foolproof, but I am treating this like it's a little mini game or some kind of skill based something or other to get these things correctly. So you're jumping up around like 0.55 and 0.48. You're jumping back and forth a little bit.
Oh, I did manage to get 52. I just gotta scroll back and forth and find that sweet spot.
Okay, and you found it right about there on yours as well?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if console and PC were any different or the same. And
yeah, I think the main difference is that you have a lot just more control with a mouse.
Yeah, correct.
Instead of joysticks. So that's really the main difference.
Yeah, I wish they had like a little plus tick you can up it or use
or at least use the D-pad.
Yeah,
something.
Yeah. And I have a minor adjustment of 0.08 on the length of the barrel, or I'm sorry, the length of the grip for aiming stability. And I came from that, it goes zeroed out. And I'm like, well, it's an LMG. I would like a little bit of that, but I don't want the aim locking speed to suffer greatly because for some reason, I believe that it would affect more than that because the mobility altogether goes down. So I go towards aiming accuracy, 0.08, 0.09, and it just drastic. The accuracy shoots up great, but the mobility suffers. Looks like a lot. So I think I'll leave it maybe right in there. And the accuracy hardly changes at all. And it's almost maxed out. I'm okay with it. It's just my preference. And it should be your preference. It should be each individual's preference as to what you choose. The demo grip, like I said, it offers the most recoil stabilization of any attachment. The rounds, the ammunition, it offers the most damage, the most range, the most velocity. The barrel, the muzzle, it helps with the recoil and the velocity or damage. But at the same time, each weapon's going to have, there's going to be some weapons that have little recoil, like a TAC 56. It has very little recoil. So all you really need is just, a few attachments, a barrel, a muzzle, foregrip, and hell, some people may not even need a foregrip. But if you're not using high velocity rounds on your weapon, especially with it being, especially a sniper or a full automatic weapon, you're losing benefit of the time to kill. That's what will raise up the time to kill. The benefit of using the RPK is the range drop off. If you go to sim.gg, you'll notice that the range drop off is very little, and it actually competes with a sniper rifle. The only reason you can't put a scope on that is the recoil. You probably put it in single shot and have a 100-round mag and get somewhere with it, but what's the point in that? That's no fun. So, at this point, do you have any questions whatsoever on the tuning? Anybody?
So far, I got your optic and the underbarrel tuned.
Okay.
And I just need to tune the Zulu muzzle, the high velocity ammunition, and the demo grip.
The demo grip? Okay. Now, if this were me and I was, having you set up your own gun, what I would prefer you do is, first of all, go to a range and try the gun out bare bones, nothing on it whatsoever. And then, notice, take note of the recoil. Of course, it's going to have recoil. And you're going to have, the things you're not going to know is the bullet velocity. And you already know how to set up your optic. So with the recoil, you're going to want to do the grip. And if you go over to sim.gg, it will show you the best grip to use with this is going to be the Demo X2. And that will raise up your recoil control and lower your aiming stability. But with this being a full automatic weapon, you're not going to be sitting down sight aiming aimlessly. I hope we don't have any rats to be sitting across the map just staring in one direction. But if you do, that's how you play your game. That's on you. But I wanted the recoil steadiness and the aiming idle stability. Not so much sprint to fire speed, because pretty much you go around a corner with this thing, hit somebody in the leg. You know, 5 shots and they're hurting pretty bad, broken, if not down. Just hold it for quick second and a half. It's not meant for an SMG. Medium to long range engagements. Keeping that in mind, you probably need an SMG to run with this. But that's again, that's another personal preference. Sprint to fire speed, I don't think that much. Recoil steadiness, yes. So again, you know, you want to find your sweet spot, your own personal sweet spot. Mine is set at 0.61, which I found have the best negative effects, the best balance of the negative effects, and to get that recoil stabilization I need without suffering the handling. And don't know where I had it exactly, but that's just where the spider web stops.
Cool.
All right. And then you don't have to have suppress, but you know that's your own choice. If you have the muzzle tuned, you know, by all means, check into that. Take it to a firing range. You don't have to use this muzzle. Like I said, I prefer suppress. I don't know if Call of Duty has fixed the mini map yet to where it's showing up, but it didn't matter if you were suppressed or not. It still show you up as a red dot. I just know one day they're going to get that fixed, and when they do, then I'm not going to show up on anyone's mini map. And where are you sitting now? You've got the muzzle tuning to go?
Yes.
Okay.
It is set.
Oh, you've already got it set? Is yours about the same as mine, or have you upped it or lowered it? Or left it right on?
I think I'm just trusting
what I have.
Setup. Yes.
Man, I play with you enough. If you ever have any questions, you know I'm more than happy to help you out. Especially when you're in my lobby.
Gotcha.
I want to win, man. So, any other guns or anything like that? I hope that you know how, you know, do you understand the spider web, the radar? Understand how that works to find exactly what you need?
Yeah, you want it pretty much just as well rounded as possible, and
yeah, without too much of negative effects.
And without
Okay.
without hurting the cons.
And if
yeah.
Okay. Yep. Because you don't want to have something that just aims down sight really good, and then the recoil is bounces. Yeah. Well, if you guys wouldn't mind, you know, at some point in time, if you'll set up, let's say, let's, you know, pick another, something easy. Pick a, I tell you what, no one hardly ever uses a Seiken MG38. So you guys, you know, just for a little bit of homework, I want to see how you guys do, and maybe you've got something that comes out, I like it better than what you've got, and I would like to try that out. But try to set up a Seiken MG38, and let me test it out and see, you know, how I like your build. and then I want you to explain to me, how what your reasoning was when you took it to the range and back. And I just want to make sure that you guys know how to do this, so it's just not one person understanding this, and it can be right now 3 people. And I plan on doing another little session for anybody that missed this and may want to know how to do this and show others. But it would be good to know that I have different people in different lobbies that don't mind to spread this knowledge to help our little Kablammy server out, our little community in the AWT. And that's all I've got for this segment, if nobody has any questions. Does anybody have anything to add, or any takeaways that you didn't know about? No? Okay, and if you have any questions later on, or something comes up, please, by any means, I would appreciate it if you put it in the AWT suggestion section, and I can go back and read that and get to that in a timely manner. And as I said once before, if I don't have the information, I'll do my best to find it for you. And then I don't think neither of you guys play the actual PC. Do you have any settings issues? JD, I think you said you've done some controller tweaks that helped you out a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, and you've already got that. Is that anything that you can share with any controller users, or is it just
Sure.
something you tried and it works? Yeah, I mean, but because I do have a controller and I'm a little skeptic to use it because I'm just so familiar with.
It also depends on what type of controller somebody has, because I have the Xbox Elite 2 controller.
Yeah.
I think, what do you have, JD? You have a modded controller, right?
No, not that fancy.
He's in
probably
the
the
mountains.
second generation of it's the latest Xbox controller that's on the market. Like just the basic
White one?
model. Blue and white, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I have the Xbox Elite V2 controller, and I can do a lot more settings with that than you can do with that other one, just by the use of adding the paddles on the back of the controller.
Okay, are you guys using paddles on your controllers?
I have, the way I have my controller set up, I have 2 of them using. I don't have all 4 using.
Yeah, that's you've got like crouch, reload.
Yep.
I played on a SCUF controller once upon a time, back in my day.
What'd you do with your controller, JD?
Well, the settings I think he's mentioning are just visual settings and
Assist settings.
color customization and things like that. That are part of the interface.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
And I'm gonna go ahead and put my graphics on the stream, so that anybody can go back and look at it and see what they may need. I've gone full screen borderless. You can go full screen exclusive on the PC. Make sure you have your best monitor highlighted. Make sure you don't have the onboard graphics card. You've actually got your high dollar graphics card in there, which that's high dollar for me because I'm a poor boy. Aspect ratio, VSync. You don't want anything in there that you don't need. shader optimization, display gamma, brightness. Brightness is key. I ran into someone earlier today that they were missing things that was obvious to me and another player. While of
Maybe their
course,
screen too dark.
yeah, I was dead at one point in time. Believe it or not. So I was watching someone else's gameplay that was in our squad, and we're like, why are you not seeing these guys? And they had their brightness set to 50. And I didn't know what mine was at the time. I said, oh my goodness, mine's set at 80. And the other person that saw the player that that we were watching, his was set to 80 as well. And we just, for the life of us, could not figure out what how this guy was missing. You got a decent player missing what was obvious to me, and that was just because his brightness was not correct. So mine is set to 80, and I know consoles are not the same. So you guys, what's your console brightness set to? Brightness. I believe it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 50, maybe a little bit brighter.
Let me see here.
Yeah, I remember that guy. It was Koblami, and he's been missing shots for years.
Hey, there's no name calling here.
My
There's no
server,
name
it's,
calling.
it's my server, and it's my YouTube use feed.
Well, that's on you, sir. I'll do no pointing out or shaking a finger at anyone. That is not my job description. I'm just coaching and helping. I'm the designated helper. And I'm hoping I'm going to have a few people that can do the same thing, take on that role and responsibility, and free me up.
Yeah, and the first thing I'm going to ask them is what their brightness is.
There you go. And I'm glad. It's a hard lesson learned, but that could have been an easy win out of that one too. Who knows? If they just happen to fix the hackers or tell me where to get these hacks at, it'd be great too.
Yeah, full squadding.
We're doing a kind of a help session with weapon building, and we're on graphic settings right now in PC and console.
Oh.
Doing a little bit of a stream. Do you happen to need help with your graphics or anything?
I don't know, maybe.
All right. Are you running PC?
PC, yeah.
Okay. Well, if you want, I'm streaming. You can jump in and look at my stream on Discord, or Kablami's also running it on Uspeed.
When he ran over a 300
So let me clarify.
score, and now
Just on brightness was too low to
Okay.
spot anybody, and 80 is much better to see stuff.
Okay.
Is that what the verdict is?
That was on PC. Now console may run something a little different.
Okay.
Console, I can't, because I can't share it on console because it won't let me do live video on console
Yeah.
for some reason on Discord. Console, I have mine set to like 80 or 90.
80 or 90.
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't mind, at some point, if you could kind of type it out in the suggestion spot, that's best what works for you. Maybe somebody can comment on it or make some suggestions to change it. Maybe it's better for you, or maybe they have maybe it'll help someone out. If you could type out your settings in the suggestion spot, hopefully someone can go back and review this little video I have here, and save this old man some arthritis and having to do more clicking.
Yeah, mine is set. My brightness is set to 80.
80. Okay.
Okay, because when I'm set on 80, the main menu looks like gray,
It washed out. Yeah.
and I don't love that. So, I might have to just play around with that. But 50, honestly, for me, seems like I've been spotting enemies just fine.
And on my PC, I also have a FPS first person shooter selection. So mine's going to be a little bit different than any other PC out there. My audio is going to be a little bit different. My mouse, I've got software running my mouse and keyboard and headset a little bit different than most other people's.
So do you want to share what software is running your mouse?
Everything is Logitech. It's G-Hub. Everything is
Yeah.
running. And it's good, it's smooth, it is reliable. You can download programs for I have a Logitech G Pro G Pro X headset, and you can select settings, and what may be good for me may not be as good for these younger folks, and I would hope not, because I've had ear damage and lots of live ammunition going off around me, so I would hope that they wouldn't need what I need.
One thing I want to mention about the brightness is I have the same effect that JD's talking about, where everything's washed out, and JD put it on 80 and then go into the game and look how washed out it is. It's really washed out. It's way more than the menu.
Oh, sure. I bet.
Well, the other thing is that what Xbox system do you have, JD? Do you have the S or the X?
Yeah, the 1S.
Okay, I have that too. But also what I've been seeing and hearing from people is that their TVs, because not everybody has the same TV.
This is true.
Because of whatever company makes that TV, every setting can be different on somebody else's TV than the other person's.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to try out next, is try changing the contrast. And my monitor has what is it, the shadow enhancement or something?
Right. Game mode, yeah, that's another thing. I do have a gaming monitor.
Not everybody has the same TV. Like I have a 4K Roku TV.
That's another good point. That is
like because I have a 4K TV. Everything on my TV is a lot sharper than most people's.
Another thing is going to be your details and textures. I don't know if console has anything to do with this, but
yeah, but it's not as in depth as yours is.
All right, so I'm trying to get as many FPS as possible with not having stick figures running across blobs of brown stuff that might be mountains or rocks. So I have on the stream, I'm going down my settings, and you may have to rewind and go back through, pause it, whatever you need. But something I believe is very important is going to be, we get down to the bottom, and I have depth of field I have turned off. World motion blur I have turned off.
No.
Weapon motion blur I have turned off as well.
Yeah.
And that will limit your screen tearing, and that is affected across all consoles, if at all possible.
Yes, you can turn motion blur and weapon blur off.
Okay, and you definitely want to do that. That will That will help out a little bit. And you've got your
Question.
caching. Yes, go ahead.
Your under your NVIDIA Reflex low latency. What's the difference between on and plus boost? Is it low?
Let's see here.
Kept high in GPU.
Where is that?
But will
Ah.
increase GPU draw.
Okay, so it kind of keeps your latency at a balance. You know, there's going to be drops. There's going to be, you know, spikes.
Right.
So it's gonna keep your GPU into how would I kind of, it has to do with your GPU keeping up with the CPU and vice versa. Now the problem with that is going to be it's going to warm up your PC because I believe here we go.
But it will make my GPU run hotter rather than my CPU.
Well, it'll make your GPU, as it says here, anytime you have GPU, it will increase your GPU power draw. It will heat up. Anytime you're getting any kind of power or more power to something, it is going to do that. And what it is like, say your latency versus your GPU is like going up a hill. It's just hitting the gas a little bit harder just to keep that same speed.
I got you.
Just to keep that downward spike or flux from really kicking your butt in the game.
All right.
But the latency is cushioned quite a bit.
Well, if you have a mediocre GPU, then setting that to boost is going to try to make the GPU overwork maybe.
Yeah.
I'm on a 3070, so it should be fine.
Yeah. You don't have the 3080 when it catches on fire, I hope. So.
No. Well, I'm on a laptop.
Yes.
I mean, so everything runs hotter anyway.
Yeah.
But my CPU, I could literally boil water on it.
Oh my lord!
It gets literally that hot, and
What
I
is your
literally,
GPU
when I'm in game, it's at like 96 Celsius.
Oh lord!
Man.
Yeah.
What laptop are you using?
It's Alienware with an i7 in it, 3070
I got you.
GPU. But I have intake-outtake fans. But I mean, I think the thing lies to me sometimes because my outtake fan has measurements on it, and it's blowing like I think at the hottest with no fans really running, it'll push like 51 Celsius on the exit.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of wishy-washy on it actually running that hot. It tells me it is, but I'm like, if it was running that hot, man, I'd be blowing hotter air out.
Well, I know they've had Alienware. I've heard them have issues with their the older models, but I don't think a 3070 is in that for running hot, and that's something they normally do.
It's a laptop.
At most, I think mine has been 82. Yeah, mine is a laptop as well.
Right.
Yeah, most I believe mine's just been 80.
Right. But I mean, I'm pretty much everything texture, everything's high, everything's kicking.
And you can afford to. You can also lower it down if you have latency issues or.
Which I don't.
Okay. All right.
Usually when I'm on latency and I'm looking at my latency, it's like 16.
Yeah, there's so many issues you could possibly have. It sounds like you might be hosting for me then. Field of view. I have mine at 120. That's going to be personal preference. I like mine higher. That's as high as it goes. The downside to that is whenever I zoom in with a scope, it doesn't zoom in as far as if it were sitting at say like 105 or 100. So my preference is at 120. And I encourage, it definitely needs to be more than 80.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I think 80 is where it starts off at. Is that correct, or 90?
Yeah, it's like 80. I think it was when I because I raised mine to 120 as well.
because if you had blinders on from your eyeballs forward, you would only be at 90 degrees. And then you actually have peripheral where you can see, you know, behind that at 100 degrees. So 120 is kind of superhuman. So I've gone with that. But again, you need to practice. It might feel a little bit different. I heard that it looks like it feels like you run slower, but you really don't. It's just a optical illusion with your field of view. And when you do this, you need to have your ADS field of view as being effective. Not sure if console's the same or a little bit different. I have all of my weapon field of view wide. And I don't play third person, but just in case I felt froggy one day, I raised it all the way to 90. But you know, you guys can feel free to take a look at this and see where you are. Sound. My master volume's at 46. Like I said, I've got hardware or software running my audio, and that's through G-Hub and downloads. I normally don't run music, but I didn't want to sound like Bill Nye the Science Guy. And hey, this is what I didn't want to do that. Just trying to spice it up a little bit. That's from that good old Call of Duty. But on mine, I do have headphone bass boost. I heard some people are enjoying the home theater. Not for me. It sounds a little bland.
Well, they also say that bass boost is supposed to help you hear the footsteps as well.
I do just fine with that. Versus
Bass boost does help.
Yeah. So I'm good. My KD is higher than. It's at least higher than 1.0. We'll say that. So, it's either average or a little above average. So maybe even some more. But then you know I've got my PC cheat code. That's the push to talk, and I can listen to the proximity chat.
I'm going.
But all right. At this point, does anyone have any more questions about audio, video, any settings? Most of those are gonna be your preference, and I'm sure Call of Duty's gonna. And I believe they've reset something that's changed my settings, and this is on my Steam account, not my my Battle.net account, which I think I've got it tweaked a little better than this one. I've just not taken my time to adjust accordingly over here. But if anybody has any questions about any of that.
I got a question. Can you use the same phone number on your Steam account as your Battle.net?
I believe I do. I believe I do have the same. And I do know for a fact that my Activision email address and password is the same. That way I can carry over progress from one account to the other. With it being two different entities, I wouldn't see why you couldn't.
So your Activision number, you got two different accounts, two different Activision numbers?
No, Activision numbers are the same.
Oh.
It's the same account. That way it tracks you from one platform to the other.
Huh. That's kind of strange because it seems like the same Activision number will be tied to the phone. And when I tried to make a new account, it required a different phone number. That's on Battle.net though.
Now, if you try to make two different accounts on the same server or same service provider, I'd imagine you would have to have two different ones.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
But even then, if
they
were
the
to ban
Activision
you,
number.
yeah, they would ban your hardware, not your, or what is it they ban? The IP address? No.
No, it's a piece of hardware I think they banned now.
Yeah, and you just factory reset your PC and
Yeah.
you're back in the game.
Well, you know how software gets ID from your motherboard?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, that's the same way they do it, I imagine.
Yeah, most likely, and just comes through the servers.
It's a machine ID.
Yep.
But that's all I've got.